To the football show on PLZ Soccer, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin, delighted to have your company on this Wednesday. Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson are with me here in the studio, and we're about to get into the main topics of discussion today, some of the news that's emerged. Yeah, lots to talk about. Ruffy and Barry Ferguson here with me. We will look towards that Rangers game against Spartak Moscow. Also, we'll feature RB Leipzig against Celtic. But a quick look back at last night, because that result up at Dens Park, Ruffy, 6 points clear. The Jam was at the top with a 3-0 win over Dundee.
Yeah, and as we spoke about it the other day there, just builds up the confidence for the weekend. They'll go into that game high, as they should be, but it just shows you where Dundee are just now. That's a massive job Jim McIntyre's got up there. I don't know how they got as bad as that, because earlier on they showed signs of maybe just not getting the rub of the green, but they're just shedding goals for fun now. Yeah,
I mean, Hearts, come out of the traps flying at the start of both halves, really, Barry, and they just continued on the performance that I saw against Aberdeen at the weekend.
Yep, we're waiting for them to maybe slip up, but fair play to them. It doesn't look like they're going to do that again. They've had a fantastic start to the season. They did that wee blip at Ibrox, obviously, but going up there last night, you're thinking maybe Jim McIntyre got the Dundee boys. Obviously they're at home, but listen, Hearts went up there and steamrolled them. Simple as that, and they deserve to be 6 points clear, because let's be honest, they're in fantastic form.
You just wonder, Ruffy, if maybe Craig Levein goes into Anne Budge and says, why don't we just push the boat out a wee bit here in January and see if we can really put the frighteners on everybody?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. It'd be interesting if it did, but he has got a knack of identifying players that are good enough for our league. So maybe he just needs another couple. I would say the strike force is something they definitely would want to strengthen, and obviously we're losing Lafferty, and it'd be interesting to see how they go in the next. I know they've got really, really difficult games coming up, but if they were to weather the storm in these 4 or 5 games, you'd have to start really considering, obviously, if Rangers and Celtic are still about there. It's great that we now have another team who's upsetting the cap.
I'm glad you pointed that out, Ruffy, because as impressive as they were against what I thought was a mediocre performance from Aberdeen, and again, as you said, Dundee in disarray, Barry, Ruffy's right to point out the next 5 or 6 games, because after obviously the semi-final, which could put them into another stratosphere if they were to knock out Celtic, but you're looking at the fixtures, you're thinking Hibs, Celtic, Kilmarnock, then St Mirren, and then Rangers. That's before you get to games that they would be expected to win. These are the real tough ones coming in the month of December.
Yep, I mean, that's obviously 15 points they'll be going for. If they get 12, 13 points out of that, then you've got to seriously consider them. I still think it's a bit early. I heard Craig Levein saying that in the press conference the other day, that once they get this group of games out of the way, and then they can seriously start talking about if they're going to challenge. Me personally, I think they've got the players to do it. I do, and I think come January, I think Anne Budge is the type of owner that if he wants to go out and get a couple to maintain that sort of form and challenge at the top, I think she'll go and let him spend a bit of money.
Yeah, okay, nothing better than talking to the fans about this. We caught up with a young Jambo, Aaron Fraser, to get his thoughts, first of all, on that impressive win last night.
It was a fantastic win. Obviously, historically, we've struggled at Dens Park, so to get our first win there in quite some time was very good. Obviously, made a pretty good start with Bosnich's free kick, and after that, we just kind of kicked on from there, although I must say Dundee were, I'm not going to say woeful, but they're in a bit of a hard spot at the moment, and I think it'll be quite hard for them to get out of the rut. So they'll be hoping the new manager can turn things around for them.
6 points clear. Are you dreaming of the title?
Well, I'm definitely dreaming, but whether that dream will become a reality, we'll just have to wait and see. To be honest, like I said in my last interview, I'm trying not to get too carried away with it, but the longer we keep on winning, the more I'm hopeful. Like, if we don't win the title, which, depending on how the results cool in the season, I think we could definitely still aim for Europe, although Uche and Souttar will be big misses. That double injury blow was an absolute killer.
Hearts against Celtic, Murrayfield. Aaron, how do you see that one going?
It's difficult to call. If I'm thinking just now, I'm hoping for a Hearts win, maybe 1-0, 2-1. I think it'd be quite narrow if we didn't actually get the victory. However, I do feel that it will be a challenge. But if we can get it, the roof's going to come off Murrayfield, I'll tell you that for nothing.
Oh yeah, Aaron Fraser there, a Hearts fan, who says Ruffy quite simply, and I think he's right, the roof will come off Murrayfield if all 27,500 of them are witnessing knocking out Celtic.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fantastic atmosphere with the stadium full, and you're perfectly correct. If Hearts get a wee taste of getting to a final, it'll be fantastic to just carry on the season that they've been doing just now, but we'll have to wait and see if that's going to happen.
Okay, talk about taking the roof off. Ibrox is our next destination because, of course, Europa League tie, Rangers on a run looking for their 11th game undefeated in European competition, which would be some feat for Steven Gerrard. He was talking today ahead of that match against Spartak Moscow and giving us his thoughts on what he's hoping the crowd can do in this match as well.
It's difficult to predict how the game's going to go. I can sit here and tell you how I'd like it to go, and that's for us to, really take the game to the opposition. We need to ignite this crowd again, like we did in the previous game. Because we believe that if we play on the front foot and we're aggressive and the fans come with us, we believe we're a tough team to play against here. If you try and put yourself in the shoes of the opposition manager, and your first game away at Ibrox, if we're at it with the crowd behind us, that's a tricky game for your first game, and we need to make sure we don't disappoint.
Yeah, I think the significant factor here is Spartak Moscow sacked their manager. They've got to get used to, first of all, going to an intimidating atmosphere and, of course, a different voice in the dressing room.
Yeah, but obviously, sacking the manager's not going to help them. But you're expecting a new manager to come in, you're going to get a reaction. I don't think that'll matter much. I feel confident with Rangers being at home. The manager there speaks about the last game against Rapid Vienna. I thought it was a pretty even first half, but the fans, certainly in the second half, got behind them, and you could see the difference it makes. When the fans are roaring you, it gives you that bit extra 10-15%. So I think Rangers will not win it comfortably, but I think they'll win the game.
I think it'll be the same as what Barry said. I think it'll be very tight early on, obviously depending on how the scoring goes, but Rangers seem to have the knack in the last 10-15 minutes to turn the game round when it looks as if it's going to go a draw, and certainly with the support behind them. I think the Russian sides are there's a few of them, in the European competitions. They all seem to do particularly well. I remember when they come over and played Celtic, and Celtic found it very difficult against them with the ability they have. And they've got a lot of different, players for different countries, Brazilians, Argentinians. So they'll be very gifted. It just depends whether they handle the travelling and obviously the atmosphere at the park. Yeah,
and of course, let's get a quick assessment from the Rangers manager on who he has available.
Scott Arfield won't be ready. Game's come too soon for him. Jacko's back available for selection. Borna trained today. We're waiting to see whether he's had any reaction from today's session. So you might see him, but if he doesn't, it's only going to be maybe minor. He could be ready for the weekend, so he's very close, knocking on the door. Besides that, everyone's fit and available, besides Jamie Murphy, so we're in good shape. Kyle's available, yeah.
He seems fairly relaxed about it all, so basically if they get a first goal there, as Ruffy mentioned, first goal, and then I feel confident they can get the win there. Yeah, I says that. As long as, certainly at Ibrox, Rangers have impressed me, because they're at teams, as we spoke about on Monday. It's the away form that worries me, but I've got no issues at home, certainly with 52,000 fans behind you. I'm more than confident they will get the win. Scott Arfield, I think that's going to be a big miss. Before he got injured, he was coming on to a bit of form. He was starting to dictate games, which I think Rangers have been missing.
of late, but he was starting to come onto a game, starting to score goals. But he says there that Ryan Jack's obviously coming back in. But that's an area where I still think Rangers do need to strengthen in the middle of the park. I think they need a real leader, somebody who can dictate the game of football. But listen, he's happy the squad's healthy. It's a strong squad, there's plenty of competition, but as I says, I still think they're 1 or 2 players short of being a real threat.
Yeah. Prediction?
Rangers win, obviously. I'll go 2-0 Rangers.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0. Ruffy, what about yourself?
I'll go 2-1. I'll go 1 each and Rangers to score in the last 10 minutes.
Well, he's even helping out anybody who's spread betting now. That's how confident Ruffy is. He's so far behind in the predictor. He's just lashing out with ridiculous suggestions. Anyway, just one other little footnote. Again, Rangers in a situation where this whole going to court with Sports Direct, they've lost another battle with Mike Ashley Sports Direct, and they're going to have to pay, legal bills as well because of this situation of, Mike Ashley won the original deal, which was that he had to be allowed to sell merchandise because he matched the offer of anyone else. And Rangers have gone down a road here where I don't think they can afford to keep draining away funds in court cases.
Yep, there's been a lot of money recently paid out with the thing that's going on with Mike Ashley. I don't know why they just... I don't know the ins and outs yet, but I just wish they would sit round the table and maybe thrash out a deal. So listen, then Rangers get everything to like the strips or whatever, but it just seems if there's one thing after another.
Yeah.
They're obviously paying out a lot of money, which, listen, at the end of the day could be going towards the manager to go and strengthen the squad. So just I hope that they can sit round the table and finally get revolve it, you know what I mean? It's sickening. It's sickening.
I think what they need is a calm head or somebody to actually review the situation and say, look, we need to stop being antagonistic towards this whole situation. At the end of the day, smooth it over. It hasn't gone according to plan. Let's move on, try and make the best of what is a bad situation, and move on and try within a time scale of trying to do the best for Rangers, but not to antagonise somebody who's clearly got a lot of money. Mike Ashley can go to court till they're blue in the face. Yeah,
and it's unfortunate for the present board. It was the last board that got them into that deal. And you're right, negotiations don't look as if they've been good. And obviously, if you keep taking somebody to court, they're going to dig their heels in, and they're not going to release what they've got unless you come up with something. And I thought a couple of months ago that Dave King had announced to the Rangers supporters that they had done a deal, a favourable deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the Rangers supporters will be saying to themselves, wait a wee minute, what's happening here? But there obviously are other things contractual going on that nobody knows about. But Barry's right, you've got to nip this in the bud and get him out of the road.
See, the issue I'm saying, that it'd be great if they could sit around the table, but it's clear that Mike Ashley and Dave King don't like each other.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, they really need to try and sort it out, because you can't be paying out legal bills. I don't know what it is. Is it 400,000, 300, 400,000?
It could get up to that.
If you're doing that every 4 or 5 months, it adds up, and it's a lot of money. And as I said, I would rather that money, they sit around the table and sort out, and that money goes towards Steven Gerrard to try and help out and strengthen the team.
Yep, okay. Rangers take on Spartak Moscow tomorrow at Ibrox. Celtic are over in Germany to take on RB Leipzig. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi looked ahead.
Celtic face their second European away tie in a row when they play last year's Bundesliga runners-up, Red Bull Leipzig. The match kicks off at 5:55 on Thursday, being the first meeting between the two teams. The Scottish champions sit third in Group B behind leaders Salzburg and Leipzig on goal difference. Celtic took all 3 points in the opening match with a 1-0 win over Rosenborg, but they were beaten 3-1 by an impressive Austrian outfit, Red Bull Salzburg, on match day 2, despite taking the lead in under 2 minutes. The Hoops' impressive impressed with a 4-2 win over informed Hibs at the weekend and look to be regaining their scintillating form of the last 2 seasons. Captain Scott Brown is injured for 4 weeks, which could lead to Callum McGregor playing a deeper role, something that has been used to great success in recent weeks. James Forrest will also miss the game after seeing red last time out. Leipzig, above Celtic on goal difference, lost 3-2 to their sister team in the opening group match, but picked up all 3 points on game day 2 with a 3-1 win in Rosenborg. In last season's Europa League, Leipzig knocked out Zenit St. Petersburg, who had already eliminated the Scottish champions. The German side played out a dull 0-0 draw with FC Augsburg in the league going into this match, but they are unbeaten in their last 6. With one of these 2 teams likely to qualify from the group in second place, the back-to-back fixtures are crucial, and whoever comes out with more points will see qualification lie heavily in their favour.
Yeah, it's a big double header, Celtic against RB Leipzig. The away tie, Celtic. I'm struggling to think of great results in Germany. Stuttgart springs to mind in the UEFA Cup, but more often than not, when you go and play a Bundesliga team in their own backyard, you're up against it.
Yeah, they're a very good team. There's no doubt they've got a lot of quality. They've got massive backing. Obviously with the owners, money's no issue. But if you were talking 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't be confident with Celtic going there. I think they would have beat them easily. But Celtic against St Johnstone were frightening the first 45 minutes, and I thought against Hibs at the weekend, Celtic now are starting to get back to form, but obviously they're missing a couple of key players, Scott Brown and James Forrest, who for me are 2 certain starters and 2 of probably the most consistent performers in the Celtic team. So it's going to be a hard one, but listen, as I say, their form's decent now. It's starting to get back to what people expect, so it's going to be hard. But listen, I think they could nick a draw.
Yeah, okay, I don't share that view with you. I think they will lose by a couple, and the reason for that, Roffy, is quite simply it's all about levels. I think Celtic can't sustain the loss of somebody as inspirational as Brown. I think he's huge for them, especially in away games. So I think that's a real body blow. And the last thing you want to do is lose a James Forrest, who in the last 3 or 4 weeks has been on fire. Yeah,
we were all sick. We couldn't believe it when James Forrest didn't get in the Scotland team in the international games in the form that he was on. And yeah, he has come on to a good bit of form and scoring goals as well. But for me, it's all about Celtic being able to go away from home in Europe and show that they can defend and show that they can stifle the opposition. They haven't done that away from home in most of the games. So this is a team lying 5th in the Bundesliga, and that is a stronger league than our league, and if Hibs can go to Parkhead and score 2 goals, and 2 sloppy goals at that, I think they'll be up against it. I agree with you. If they get anything out of Leipzig, I think it'll be a super score.
But this is the times when you least expect it. See, when you're missing like a couple of players, sometimes it gets the team together and the squad together when people think, well, Celtic are going to go over there and get easily beaten. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying I think that they might surprise a few people.
Yeah, if Celtic win that game over there, Barry, I'll wear.
I'm not saying win. No, I'm not saying win.
Okay, if Celtic get a draw over there, I'll wear a Kelty Heart strip on Friday's show. Is that fair?
No, listen, not a problem. Not a problem.
It's just
what number do you want?
It's number 10. There is only one.
But where will you get one that big?
Listen, he's doing all right, by the way.
I'm still willing to put one on anyway, but that's no disrespect to Celtic, because you're absolutely right, they are hitting a bit of form, but I just think at this level, I think, you alluded to it at the weekend again, which seemed to annoy a few journalists, but, Brendan Rodgers mentioned they've stood still. And I don't even think they are what you would call a really competitive Europa League team. I think they have stood still, and the manager should have been backed. This isn't going to go away. For every 2 or 3 good domestic results, Ruffy, they are not at the level they should be, even for a Europa League side.
No, and I think Brendan Rodgers knows that, and the games at Leipzig will emphasise that even more when we see how that game goes. And I'm sure he'll be hoping that the owners of the club will identify that as well. What are your targets? Where do you want me to take this team? Look where we are just now. give me some money for players.
Yeah, okay. We'll find out exactly what happens, and we'll review that on Friday's show. Let's hope we can get that XL Kelty Hearts top that Ruffy's talking about. He's looking and thinking XXL. I knew you were thinking that. Anyway, Aberdeen boss Derek McInnes was talking today ahead of their crucial League Cup semi-final. Are they going to book their place in the final? Well, to do so, they'll need to get past Rangers. McInnes was mentioning today, Barry, that it's great to have Scott McKenna back. It's huge for them. He reckons they can beat anyone on their day, but they're going to have to be strong mentally and in their performance as well. And boy, from what I witnessed on Saturday afternoon, they are going to have to up their game.
I think they're a match for anybody at home. Away from home, that's where they struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, you were at the game on Saturday, and I've seen plenty of games at Ibrox, and I've seen games at Celtic Park where they've struggled. Now, I see you mentioned that they need to turn up for this one. Well, let's see it. There's no use of manager saying that. It's up to the players. Once they cross that white line, they need to show that they can compete with the best. So, listen, he's put it out there. So it's up to the players to go and produce. Do I think they've got enough to beat Rangers? No, I don't. I think Rangers will be too strong for them.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think it's different when you travel up with Pittodrie, tighter pitch. Aberdeen are a strong team. Away from home, I've got my doubts.
I don't think they've got somebody mentally in their side. The only one that really looks as if he's up for a fight, and I think you need players who are up for a fight, is Shinnie. The rest of them, for me, he doesn't have the ultimate leaders for me. There's something missing in the Aberdeen side.
Yeah, I think they've lost a lot of very vital players and not really replaced them with the same quality. Another thing as well, I'm sure that they would be hoping that they were playing at Murrayfield and not Hampden, because they have got a horrible record at Hampden in semi-finals and finals. For some reason, the team don't seem to turn up these particular games.
Do you know the only player that makes them tick, that looks special, that looks as if he's got a trick, that looks as if he can do something out of the ordinary? Niall McGinn. Niall McGinn, for me, should be a regular starter for them, because he's a level above some of the players that are on the park.
Yeah, well, on you go, Ruff.
No, I just don't think he's performed to the consistency that he did the first time he came back. I think he scored about 23 goals that season.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a different role that he's asking him to play, and other players aren't producing the goods. But for me, it's up front. You know, they don't know who the number 9 is.
Yeah.
See, I keep going on about it. Like, a lot of the press and all that going about it, and asking Aberdeen players. I mean, everybody's always having a go at them. They'll not have a go at them when they start to produce results away from home. I know they won at Celtic Park, but that was the end of the season. The league was over and done with. They need to start producing in the big games, because without doubt, for me, they have got good players. As you mentioned, Niall McGinn for me is a very good player. Mackay Stevens had a really good start to the season. Shinnie, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think he's the main guy in there. If he's not playing, they struggle. So they need to start turning up at the big games, and then they won't get labelled this against them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of quick points. Ruffy, Ryan Porteous and Fraser Murray have signed deals to 2023 at Hibs. Good bit of business.
Good bit of business. I know one of them's playing under 21 football, and looks he's been given a chance in a couple of first team games. So yeah, you identify the young players for the future, and you get them on long contracts.
And I'm going to stick my neck out here, and I don't know if you agree with us, guys. I watched Juventus, 60% of the possession last night at Old Trafford. They're my tip for the Champions League this season.
Yeah, they're definitely a class act. There's no doubt about that. I never seen the game live. I watched the highlights, but they're certainly they've got some top players.
Who's your tip?
Well, I'm not going to agree with you. I was going to say Juventus.
Don't go Real Madrid. They've got no chance.
Oh, Real Madrid, they're struggling this year. They're also struggling in their league campaign.
Who are you going for?
I'll need to go with... listen, I need to agree with you. I'll go with Juventus myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Where are the Juventus camp?
I'm going to go for the boarding team, Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid? Where did you pull that one from?
I think they're a good European side. They don't lose many games at home.
Yeah, okay. If Atletico Madrid win the Champions League, we'll all get the Hearts strips. We'll wear the away strip as well. Can you get 2 XXLs and a small? Anyway, on that note, thanks very much for watching the programme. Don't forget you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us your thoughts on Facebook as well. We're live on there, as well as Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks to Ruffy. Thanks to Barry Ferguson. Thanks for watching.
We are going to play PES 2019. As you know, we have to select 2 sides. I have picked Coca-Cola from the Mexican League, and Barry has picked Barcelona. Oh, it's an own goal! Oh! What's that clown doing? All you have to do is like and share.
For your chance to win an Xbox in PES 2019.